I was looking for a credit card with great rewards but no fees, and that is how I stumbled upon the Brim Mastercard. And by the way, know that this is not the Brim World Mastercard, and it's also not the Brim World Elite Mastercard. It's just Brim Mastercard. So in this video today, I want to share with you my experience of using the Brim Mastercard. I want to talk about 5 things that I like about this card and one thing that I find just a bit lacking. But before we start, very important note, this is not a sponsored video. All of the things that I will say are purely my own opinions. Also, big disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not making any recommendations about which credit card you should get, you should apply for. All I want to do with this video is to share my experience and what I personally think of it. Let's start with one of the more important things, which is the rewards. With the Brim Mastercard, you get 1 point for every $1 spent. So if you spend $100, you get 100 points, and that in turn will translate to $1 in rewards. And if you spend $1,000, that will earn you $10 in rewards. So in other words, a 1% conversion ratio, which is pretty good considering that you can spend your money in any category and it's not limited to any specific category. But what I especially like, considering that I buy a lot of my stuff, a ton of my stuff from Amazon, is that when you make purchases on Amazon, then you will get double the points. So if you spend $100, that will translate to $2 in reward points, which is, I think, really a good deal. So as you can see in my account here, there's one transaction I made for $21.72. I would normally only get 22 points, but because the transaction was made on Amazon, I got 43 points instead, or double the amount of points. Let's go on to the next thing that I really love about this card, and that is that they have what's called flexible redemption. So you might know that with a lot of other credit cards, you accumulate your points and then you can convert these points to buy a specific product or get a gift card, a gift voucher, or whatever, right? Well, that is pretty great. It does limit you to only buying certain things. So what's great about this flexible redemption is that you can use your rewards, those dollar amounts, to offset any purchase that you made with your Brim Mastercard. So let's just say that I have $20 worth of points, and then I go to the store and buy myself a nice sweater which costs $30. So after that transaction appears in my account, I can actually click on it, and then I can decide how much of my reward points I want to use to offset this transaction. And let me show you by using this specific example of this Amazon transaction. So here I spent $21.72, and I click on this plus sign here and go to redeem. And when I go to redeem, you can see the number of points I have here. I have 6,148 points, which is equivalent to $61.48. And now I can choose how much of these points I want to use. So I can go to maximum amount, and because I have enough points, I can use just my points to pay for the whole transaction. So Brim would deduct 2,172 points. But I can also use a custom amount. So let's go on cancel first, go on redeem again, let's go on custom amount, and let's just say that I only want to use $10 worth of my points. In that case, it will count $10 towards my transaction of $21, so remaining will be $11.72, and Brim will deduct my points by 1,000 points. So I really love this because it gives us as the customer the flexibility to use our reward points however we like. The third thing that I love, and it's not unique to this card, is that Brim Mastercard has $0 annual fee. Right from the start and forever, you do not need to pay any annual fee. And it's just perfect for someone like me who just doesn't see the point of paying any annual fee to any credit card provider. But remember that the $0 annual fee only applies to the Brim Mastercard. So if you're thinking of getting the Brim World or Brim World Elite card, then usually there will be an annual fee of $99 and $199 respectively. But at the moment, I'm seeing that Brim World Elite has a promotion where there's a 0% annual fee, and usually that only applies to the first year, after which you will have to pay the regular annual fee. So far, combine a double reward points for Amazon transactions, flexible redemption with $0 annual fee. I think that's a really good deal. The fourth thing that I love about this card is what's called the lock feature, and let me show this to you in my account. So if I go into my account, right at the top of the page, you will see that there are 3 options. It says lock card, lock online, online, and lock foreign. So if you think that your card is lost or stolen, or for whatever reason you just want to prevent anyone from being able to use your card, maybe including yourself, you can just go to lock card. So it won't be possible to use your card for transactions. And the same goes for lock online. If you click on that, you won't be able to use it for online transactions. And lock foreign simply means that you won't be able to make foreign purchases. So I really love how Brim Card puts that level of control into your hands in a very simple and straightforward manner. You do not need to contact the bank or so. You just go to your account and click on the option that you need. The fifth thing that I find really useful about Brim Mastercard is that it has a travel notice option. So what is this? When you go on vacation overseas, let's say to Japan, and you're using your credit card over there, there is always a possibility that the credit card company will flag one of your transaction as fraudulent. Why? The reason is because when you're doing that transaction overseas in Japan, when you're buying that Sapporo and Okonomiyaki, that transaction falls outside of your regular pattern of buying Chipotle here at the food court in Toronto. And because of that, for your own security, they will flag the purchase, or they will prevent that transaction from happening so that no one will cheat you of your money. But the problem is, in this case, it's actually you wanting to do the transaction, and you really don't want that kind of problem to interfere with your vacation, right? So because of that, what you would normally do in advance is you would communicate to your bank, to your credit card provider, that you will be overseas in this city, in this country, from this to this date. And once you do that, they know that once a transaction in that location pops up, it's not a fraudulent transaction. It's just you buying some stuff. And let me show you how you can do this in your Brim account. So if I go to my account here, there's a tab called Travel Notice. I click on that. So it will ask you where you're traveling to, keep us informed about your upcoming travel plans to ensure that your card won't be flagged for fraud. And here you can add a number of destinations, so you can add more than one if you're going to multiple locations. So for example, here I put Tokyo, Japan, and I set a departure and a return date. The next thing that I enjoyed about Brim Mastercard was the application process. And this is actually a big thing, because if you've ever applied for a credit card and found that it was such a complicated process and a hassle, and it took you forever to get any news about whether you're approved or not, then you will really appreciate the credit card application process of Brim Mastercard. Personally, in my case, I found the process to be very simple, clear, straightforward, and especially fast. So let's first talk about eligibility. What do you need to be eligible to apply for this credit card? And for that, I want to direct you to this awesome website that I found that is called creditcardgenius.ca, where they list and compare all the different kinds of credit cards. So I would really recommend you to take a look at this website before applying for any credit card. So let's look at the details and eligibility. You would need a credit score between 660 and 724, which is not too high. And the great thing is you only need a personal income of $15,000. So if you've just started to work, or you only have a part-time job, or you're a newcomer in Canada and your income is still pretty low, then this is a rather easy credit card, in my opinion, for you to apply to. So the requirements to apply for this credit card are really very simple. Let me give you just a very high-level overview of the application process and how long everything took. So if you want to apply for Brim Mastercard, simply go onto the website, which is brimfinancial.com, go to credit cards, and then select the credit card that you want. So in my case, it was the standard Brim Mastercard with 0 annual fee and 1% back in points. Click on Get Brim and then fill out your details. So the great thing about this application process was that everything could be done online. So I didn't have to go to the branch. I didn't need to see anyone. Everything was handled online, and I had some communication with the people from Brim, but everything was very smooth and very clear. Let's now talk about the timeline. So I submitted my application, and I think it took me only 10 minutes or so to get my application ready and send it out. And within the same day, Brim actually got back to me because because they still required some additional document from me. So I sent them back the document that they wanted on the same day, and after 4 business days, I got approved. So I think that is pretty fast, because there are a lot of other credit card providers which take forever and they leave you hanging and they don't give you any update and so on. So Brim was really on the ball with this. Within 4 days, they came back to me and said that my card is approved. Now after that, of course, is the waiting period. You have to wait until you get your physical credit card in the mailbox. But actually what you can do while waiting for the physical credit card to arrive is to use Apple Pay. So you can connect your approved credit card to Apple Pay and start using it immediately. But this is not something that I tried out, so I don't have any experience with this. So in the end, I just waited patiently, and in less than 2 weeks, my physical Brim Mastercard arrived in my mailbox. And now I've been using it for about more than a year, and in general I've been pretty happy with it. There are also a few other features which I have not made use of so far, but which are also pretty good. But most of the other credit cards will also have this, which include travel insurance, the possibility to set up installment plans. So if you have a purchase for, let's say, $500, for example, you can break that down into 6 or 12 and so on payments, but you'll have to pay a fee for that. There are also a lot of partner offers, for example with Indigo, where for your first purchase you can get 300 points. And they also claim that you do not have to pay any foreign transaction fee for foreign transactions. But honestly, because I've never done a foreign transaction using Brim, I cannot really comment on that. But I will do that during my next vacation, and I will let you know how that turned out. Okay, what about the downsides? Are there any downsides? In general, I don't think there are any, apart from maybe one minor thing that I think could be improved, which is the speed at which payments to my credit card are reflected in my account. So let's say that I was due to pay for my credit card on the 10th of August. And what I usually like to do is that I pay my credit card in advance. So I don't wait until the due date, but I pay sometimes even 2 weeks before. So if my balance, for example, is $800, I try and pay $400, for example, to keep my utilization rate low. But unfortunately, Brim doesn't immediately update it in my account. And because of that, I need to keep track of my payments by myself. I can't just check on my account and see how much I have left to pay. And even if by the due date I make a full payment on my balance, Brim does not immediately or fast enough reflect that I have made my payment and that my balance is zero. Sometimes it can take them a week or even more until that is reflected. So that's just a minor thing that annoys me a bit, because it would just be great to make a payment and see that reflected in a matter of, let's say, 2 days at max. Okay guys, that being said, this Brim Mastercard is not my first credit card, and that could also explain why it was pretty easy for me to get it approved. So this was my second credit card here in Canada. Before this, I had another credit card. My first credit card I got here as a newcomer. So if you are new here in Canada and you do not have any credit history, any credit score yet here in Canada, then it might be more easy to get that credit card. So no guarantees here, but just based on my own experience. At that time, I didn't have any credit history, I didn't have a credit score, but I was able to get that credit card. So if you want to know more about that, then make sure that you check out this video over here. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again next time.